Welcome to the iRogya Wellness Podcast, your quick guide to a healthier life. In each episode, we'll explore practical tips and insights to help you on your journey to optimal health and well-being. Let's dive in.
Okay, so new weight loss thing every week, right? It's like charcoal lemonade, apple cider, vinegar gummies. Honestly, who has time for all that? But that's why we're here for this deep dive. You guys sent us a ton on these Slenderiiz Drops, so ingredients, instructions, the whole 9 yards. Let's cut to the noise and see what the deal is.
Ready when you are?
Perfect. So it's Slenderiiz, not Slenderiiz, right? Anyway, it's this 2-part system, day drops and night drops. You're taking, 15 drops a day formula before each meal? Breakfast, lunch, dinner, the whole shebang. Supposed to get your metabolism going. Then, an hour or two before bed, you take night drops, about 2 milliliters, ideally on an empty-ish stomach. It's supposed to help you sleep better. Yeah. And, of course, we've got to talk ingredients, right? Seems like a lot of you are wondering, can you keep using them after the initial, program thing? And, yeah, sounds like it's totally up to you. A few folks were curious about the caffeine situation. There's a little bit in the day drops, but it's not much, like a quarter cup of coffee. And listen, this is huge GE. If you've got any allergies, you're taking other medications, pregnant, breastfeeding, talk to your doctor first, okay? Always better be safe than sorry.
Couldn't agree more. And, it's interesting, right? These drops, they're kind of tapping into that whole quick fix thing we all crave sometimes. But then they're using ingredients that, at least some of them, have a bit of science behind them. Take white kidney bean extract, for example. That's everywhere these days. And there's actually been some early research suggesting it might mess with how our bodies deal with carbs. Basically, it could slow down this enzyme, alpha amylase, which helps us digest starches. There was this one small study published in the International Journal of Medical Sciences back in 2011, showed that people who took the white kidney bean extract, they absorbed fewer calories from starchy foods compared to the folks who didn't, obviously. And this is super important. It's not a free pass to just gorge on pasta,
Yeah.
Right. It's not magic. Okay, so white kidney bean extract, kind of cool. Yeah. But there's a whole bunch of other stuff from Slenderiiz, right? And they make some pretty big claims. Appetite suppression, craving control, even hormone regulation. What's the science on all that? Really?
Yeah, you got to look at the whole picture, for sure. And those claims you mentioned, classic weight loss buzzwords. Right, let's break them down one by one, see how they connect to what's actually in Slenderiiz, and more importantly, what it means for you.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. Appetite suppression first.
Yeah.
Can a few drops actually make you, not hungry anymore?
Well, it's not magic, but it's definitely more complicated than, what the marketing might have you believe. Remember that white kidney bean extract we talked about? So the thinking is, because it might mess with how much carbs your body absorbs, it could have this knock-on effect on your appetite hormones. Things like ghrelin. Ghrelin's a big one. It's the one that basically tells your brain, hey, I'm hungry.
Right.
But, and this is super important to remember, even if those hormones are changing a little bit, it's not like suddenly you don't feel hunger at all. That wouldn't be healthy anyway, Your body needs to tell you these things. Think of it more like maybe it takes the edge off those crazy hunger pangs, so it's a little easier to stick to like a normal eating plan.
Makes sense. So less about ignoring your body, more about working with it.
Yeah.
Okay, what about cravings?
Yeah.
We've all been there, staring down a bag of chips. Can Slenderiiz actually help with that?
The age-old question, right? And again, it's not a simple yes or no. One of the ingredients they highlight is chromium. And there's some research out there looking at how chromium might help regulate blood sugar levels. The idea being, if your blood sugar is more stable, you're less likely to get those big spikes and crashes. And those are often what lead to those, intense cravings, especially for sugary stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that tracks. Yeah. What about this whole hormone regulation thing? It sounds kind of vague, to be honest.
You're telling me. Hormone regulation gets thrown around a lot, but people need to be clear about what that even means. Our endocrine system, crazy complicated.
Right.
There are tons of different hormones that play a role in our weight. Leptin, that one tells you when you're full. Cortisol, the stress hormone, that one can mess with fat storage. It's a whole thing.
Wow, yeah.
Now, some of the ingredients in Slenderiiz, they've got cinnamon extract in there, and there have been very early studies suggesting cinnamon might help regulate blood sugar a bit, which indirectly could impact certain hormones. It's a domino effect. But to say that these drops are going to single-handedly regulate this whole system, that is optimistic, to say the least.
Okay, so more like subtle nudges, maybe, not a complete system overhaul. Gotcha. So we've covered a lot of ground here. White kidney bean extract, hormones, the whole 9 yards. But let's bring it back to, our listeners. If someone's thinking about trying Slenderiiz, what are the big takeaways? What do they really need to know?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And honestly, this is where it gets real. Because knowledge is power, especially when it comes to our health. So, first things first, talk to your doctor. Seriously, I can't stress that enough. Especially if you've got any pre-existing conditions, allergies, if you're taking other medications, they can help you figure out if Slenderiiz is even a good fit for you, safety-wise.
For sure, for sure. It's easy to get caught up in the hype of something new. But yeah, your doctor's always going to have the best advice for you. What else should someone be thinking about if they're weighing their options with this stuff?
Expectations. Got to manage those. Weight loss. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And Slenderiiz's, maybe it can help a little, but it's not a magic bullet. Real lasting results. Those usually come from building good habits. Eating right, moving your body, managing stress, sleeping enough. That kind of thing.
Right, it's the whole picture, not just a quick fix. And speaking of quick fixes, I feel like we've seen a million products that promise the world and then disappear, right? How can people cut through the noise? How can they be smart about these decisions, especially when there's so much marketing hype out there?
Oh, such a good point. Okay, here's the thing. Don't just take their word for it, even if it sounds all scientific and fancy. Do your own digging. Look for, real research studies, the ones that have been peer-reviewed. Check out reputable health organizations, see what they're saying. Talk to, a registered dietitian, someone who actually knows their stuff.
It's all important.
And honestly, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Right. Never hurts to be a little skeptical.
Okay.
So, as we're wrapping up our deep dive on Slenderiiz, what's that one, thought-provoking thing you want to leave our listeners with?
It's funny. Talking about these drops, it makes you realize how much we all want easy answers,
Yeah.
Especially with something as complex as weight. But the truth is, there's no magic solution. It's genes, it's hormones, it's lifestyle choices, it's our own, psychology around food.
Yeah.
It's a lot. For sure.
So instead of searching for shortcuts, what if we approached weight management with that same, curiosity and critical thinking we were just talking about? Ask questions, understand the why behind things, and be honest with ourselves about the changes we're willing to make.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, it's those sustainable habits, those little things you do every day that actually make a difference.
Yes. I love that. It's about the journey, right? Not just the destination. This has been fantastic. Thank you so much for breaking down Slenderiiz with us.
Anytime.
And to everyone listening, thank you for sending in your questions about Slenderiiz. That's what this is all about, giving you the info you need to make those smart, healthy choices. We'll be back next week with another deep dive into, well, you'll have to tune in and see. Until then, stay curious, friends.
Thanks for tuning in to the iRogaya Wellness Podcast. Remember, small steps lead to big changes. If you're curious about the products we mentioned today, you can find them all at irogaya.com. That's AIROGYA.com. And hey, use the code IROGYA15 at checkout for a 15% off discount. Please note that the code is not applicable for Europe, some parts of the Middle East, and South Africa. Until next time, keep taking those steps towards a healthier you.